And I need to be given the job that I've earned, which is principal of this school. Or I'll leave. And so will nearly every teacher at Anchor Beach.
Callie confronts Shiloh McCullen, Mariana has 3 suitors, and Lena takes on the school board yet again. Let's break down the Fosters right here on What Happened. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Fosters recap right here on Shine On Media. Now all I have to say after watching this episode is yes, Lena, yes, finally get it, girl. Like, she's got Drew quaking in his boots. But before I break all that down, let's run through really quickly some of the big things that happened in this episode. Callie gets Ximena some exposure on the HuffPo, and Ximena is so excited she kisses Callie, but I don't think Callie really seemed too surprised or fazed by this kiss. I think she may have even smiled. Mariana tells the 3 guys she wants to date she's going to date them all casually because she's not ready for anything serious. They all end up being okay with that, and we'll just have to wait and see how long that lasts. Jesus is able to get rid of his para David, but asks Lena if she can help him instead. Be careful what you wish for, Jesus. He really ends up regretting that decision when she sits next to him in some of his classes, and yeah. Jude is in hot water with Noah after the flirting between Jude and Declan gets to be a little too much for Noah's liking. Lena and the teachers band together to get Drew fired, and for her to finally get the job she's earned. Principal. Oh, and that school becoming a whole private thing is out of the question now because Mr. Stratos' scam of actually wanting to build condos on the school property was exposed thanks to Nick. Steph continues to get stressed throughout the episode, and her joint birthday party with Jenna does not help. She ends up finally telling Lena she can't breathe and she doesn't know what to do. Alright, so that's kind of the short version of this episode, so let's dive into it now a little deeper. For Mariana, she has Matt, Wyatt, and Logan all interested in her. Wyatt asks at school if they can go out, but their schedules really aren't syncing up. Like, who honestly knew Wyatt would be the type of guy who would teach Pilates? Like, he is so full of surprises that part of me really wants her to date him just so I can learn more about him, because he's intriguing. But she ultimately tells Wyatt to get back to her with his schedule. She then gives Logan some derby lessons at home, complete with some grinding, which leads them to agreeing to go on a date. He's kind of the most forward of the guys and plants a big smooch on Mariana, which just makes me kind of think this kid's a player with a one-track mind. When Mariana sees Matt at school the next day, she says that she's game for starting over, but again, their schedules don't work out as well. Mariana then just invites him to Steph's party that night, and he says he'll be there and sweetly gives her a kiss on the cheek. Later on, Mariana proves she's just like us when she accidentally texts Matt, who she thinks is Logan, and you know that whole confusing texting the wrong person the wrong thing. This is why you should always update your phone and save your contacts immediately when you get a new phone. And Mariana here got a new number so Nick couldn't contact her in the future. Well, Mariana ends up coming face to face with all 3 of her suitors when Matt comes to Steph's party, Logan comes with his parents, and Wyatt stops by to bring Mariana's schedule. And I won't lie, very impressed with Wyatt for filling out a schedule for the next 16 months because I don't even know what I'm doing later tonight or tomorrow. Mariana ends up telling them the truth that she's not ready for anything serious, so she's going to casually date all of them because she's not ready to be tied down. Logan and Wyatt immediately are fine with this plan, but Matt, he's having a harder time with this, so he goes off with Mariana to talk through things. And he's like, you know what, he says he can't pretend that he doesn't mind her dating other guys, but she says they can't dive back into where they were before they broke up. She's only going to consider dating him if they can take things slow, and he ends up agreeing. Now, how this will all play out moving forward, we will just have to wait and see. I'm still kind of pulling for Matt because I've just, kind of grown an affection to him from seeing him on the show for so long. But like I said, we don't really know Logan and Wyatt in all that much depth, so they could be pretty interesting to learn about too. Moving on to Jude and his relationship trouble. He tells Taylor about imminent power sighting her too, but she's not too happy and thinks it's only because Jude feels bad about how he treated her. Jude insists it's not going to be the same without her and she won't be a third wheel. And it turns out that at first she isn't the third wheel. Jude is because of Declan's jealousy. When the trio set up their stream in the guest house, Noah comes over to see Jude and plants a big kiss on him right in front of Declan. And then Jude introduces Noah to Declan as his boyfriend. Let's just say Declan's not too excited to see that the guy he has his sights set on already has a man, and he makes that very clear during their stream when he makes jokes at Jude's expenses and pretty much ignores Jude teaming up with Taylor in the game. Jude's pretty much oblivious as to why Declan is acting the way he is, so he seeks out some advice from Noah. Noah says just stick up for yourself and make Declan pay attention to you. Well, this ends up backfiring as well. Jude ends up taking some jabs at Declan during the next stream, but it ends up being more like flirting.
Get ready to be imminently dominated.
Yeah, you wish.
I do wish.
Get a room, you two.
I just did.
You got room for me in there?
Always, baby.
Noah calls Jude later that night asking what on earth Jude was doing during the live stream. Like, why was he flirting with Declan so hard? The people in the chat are even now shipping those two together. Jude just doesn't seem to understand why Noah's so upset and why he's overreacting, because basically Jude says he did what Noah suggested, giving it back to Declan. Noah's angry though and tells Jude that he can give Declan whatever he wants and hangs up on Jude. Now, I like Jude, but he's still pretty young and immature, and the fact that he's so blind to what he's done to Noah is just frustrating. Also, boo to Declan, who just seems kind of sleazy. Let's move on to Jesus. During a family meeting, Lena and Steph tell the kids that they've been going about everything with Jesus wrong, so they need to change things at home, and Jesus needs to be in charge of his own life, so they're going to have to be more patient, understanding, and honest with him. But Jesus will in turn also have to let them know more about his needs. Lena then tells Jesus she also heard what he said about David, so David is not going to be helping him anymore, but he'll still need someone to help manage his homework and classes. Jesus then asks Lena if she would be willing to do it, and she says yes. But Jesus regrets it when he sees that Lena will be sitting in with him on some of his classes, and she's giving all her teachers packets of paperwork to read about, his condition, and all the kids are pretty much snickering behind his back in class. He vents his frustration to Brandon, who suggests that Jesus just tell Lena, but Jesus just can't bring himself to tell Lena that she's bugging, according to him. We get a break this week from the Brandon and Grace storyline, so let's move on to Steph. Tess is back from vacation with Dean, and she brings Steph a bottle of wine to say thanks for checking in on Logan. Tess then tells Steph that she and Dean really reconnected on this trip and are back on track, and then she asks Steph what she's doing for her birthday because she still remembers it's Steph's birthday. Steph's still kind of feeling kind of iffy about Tess, but she tells her about a joint birthday party that she has with her friend Jenna, and it's going to be in the backyard, and she does invite Tess and Dean over, even though Dean will pretty much be the only guy at the party. Later, Steph is so stressed or just feeling off that she's washed the same pot 3 times, and Lena actually notices. Things finally come to a head at the party as Jenna, who's always pretty loud and annoying, ends up meeting Tess and flirting with her, and then she learns that Tess is the Tess that she's heard about from Steph, and things just get weird as the night goes on. At the end of the night, when the party is over, Lena, Steph, Tess, Dean, and Jenna are the only ones left, and that awkwardness escalates even more until Steph just finally blows up at Jenna. The next day, Brandon comes over to give Steph her birthday present, which is a cute coupon for 1 hour of piano playing, which he used to do when he was little and she was stressed out. He suggests she cash in on it now, so she lays down on the couch, and you can tell that something really is not right with her. Later that evening, she can't sleep, and she wakes up Lena to tell her that she can't breathe. Lena asks if she should get her to the hospital, but Steph is just like, something isn't right, can you hold me? And we see Lena hold Steph, and that's when the episode ends. So what on earth is wrong with Steph? Because I really need to know. Next up, Callie and Ximena. So Aaron, Callie, and their pal Sean are visiting Ximena at the church and discussing what their next move is. It turns out that Shiloh McCullen is back in town and will be speaking at an event, and the group are thinking about interrupting it somehow to draw attention to Ximena in hopes of getting her exposure to get her the special hearing she needs. Meanwhile, Ximena spends the episode more worried about Callie's portfolio. And it seems like Callie's pretty much having artist block, so the whole portfolio thing isn't going so well. Callie is inspired though from looking at Poppy's photos and things in her bedroom to make some great posters for the Shiloh event. She's joined at the event by Aaron, Poppy, Sean, Mariana, and some others, and when the floor is open to questions, Callie gets in line. When it's Callie's turn to step up to the mic, she brings up how Miss McCullen said in her speech that a DACA repeal would protect communities from criminals, implying that DACA puts the nation at risk of crime. Callie then points out that's not true, giving some statistics, and then when Miss McCullen starts to ask if Callie actually has a real question, Callie brings up Ximena's story and how she's been in the country since she was 2. She doesn't know any other place. She never returned to Mexico. And that Ximena goes to school here, pays taxes here, grew up here, and she loves the country as much as anyone else. Callie and her friends then reveal their posters saying what makes Ximena an American. And Callie asks Miss McCullen what makes her or any of them in this room more American than Ximena. Callie then reveals her poster, which is a picture of Ximena with the hashtag IWasMadeInAmerica. Later at church, Callie gets a text from Sean showing that what they did worked. There's an article about Ximena and all of the stuff at the event on the HuffPo. Ximena is so excited that she ends up kissing Callie.
am I doing? I gotta call Poppy. Yeah.
Ximena also gives Callie some advice about her portfolio, pointing out that Callie makes great art when she isn't too worried about making great art. Now for the last storyline to talk about, it's the school stuff. We left off with Lena showing up at Nick's doorstep, so what evidence does he have that will help? Well, at first he tries to pretend like he has no idea why Lena is there and what she's talking to him about, but when she threatens to get his parole officer involved, he fesses up. He hands her a flash drive and also confesses he's the one who destroyed the model. He did it because he just really hates his father. He also says that his dad is going to kill him for giving Lena that flash drive. Lena then says that, he needs to talk to someone about his dad and everything that's going on there. Meanwhile, the board is meeting to vote about the fate of Anchor Beach, and Lena is late and Mariana's getting very worried. Lena shows up in the nick of time, pun there, yeah, and reveals what Nick had on that flash drive. They're blueprints for luxury condos set to be built on the property of the school. There's no intention actually for building a new school at that property. Mr. Stratos then tries to cover his ass, saying that they were going to move the school to a new campus somewhere else, and these condos were going to help create money for an endowment for the school, and yada yada yada. Then evil board member Lauren tries to stick up for Mr. Stratos, but ultimately the vote doesn't go their way. Drew, however, is now the new principal, with Lena serving as vice principal. Her duties will include being in charge of student welfare and discipline, and Drew makes it very clear that any of the real decisions pertaining to the school are ultimately his call. Yeah, he's still a douchebag. At Steph's party, Lena invited Timothy so Dean wouldn't be the only guy there. Timothy ends up telling Lena about Drew's plans for merit-based bonuses and also calls Lena out for crossing the line when it comes to her sitting in classes with Jesus and, kind of watching the teachers and playing both the role of vice principal and parent. Lena says she has to fight for her son, but Timothy says she should fight for herself too, and she should really be the principal, and he says she has a chance. The next day at the board meeting, Lena comes in strutting in like a badass, calls out the bonuses, and said that she founded this charter, stopped it from being turned into condos, and well, she stands up for herself, saying that she's given everything to this school and she's been overlooked and taken for granted.
Drew needs to be fired. Lauren, you need to resign. And I need to be given the job that I've earned, which is principal of this school.
Hell yeah, Lena, like seriously, you tell him, because these people had this coming, because they are all very, very sleazy, and she and her army of teachers are now making waves. And that wraps up this episode. So Steph's condition, whatever it is, seems to be getting worse. Ximena's getting the exposure she needs. Lena will hopefully become principal of the school, and Jude may be in over his head when it comes to Declan and Noah. And also when it comes to Nick, Lena stayed with him until his parole officer showed up and they took him to a halfway house. So hopefully he's out of the clutches of his evil father and will get the help that he needs. Now, I'm not really into this whole drama with Tess, I'm not into this Mariana storyline much, but I am invested in what's going on with Steph, as well as Callie and her whole art school thing, probably because I dabble in art too, and I didn't get to do art school because my parents didn't want me to, so I'm a little more invested in that and hoping that she actually gets in and gets inspired. Anyway, as a whole, I thought this was an okay episode, not my favorite, not the most exciting, but also not the worst, just falls in the middle there. So let's take a look at the promo for next week to see how that episode's shaping up.
Should I break up with Wyatt? Matt thinks I'm using all of these guys as an excuse to not get back with him because I'm afraid he's gonna break my heart again. What do you think? I mean, did I ever really give Wyatt a chance? And Logan, he's a great kisser.
You're kissing all these guys?
Yeah, but I'm just kissing. Matt's my first love.
Are you?
You know what? You're right. I should end it with Wyatt and Logan and just go for it. Thanks for the advice.
Alright, let me know all your thoughts about this episode. Do you think Mariana will ultimately choose one of the three guys for a real relationship? What did that kiss mean to Ximena and Callie? Will Jude and Noah break up because of Declan, and will Taylor continue to game with them? Plus, what's next for Lena and Anchor Beach, and what do you think is really wrong with Steph? Leave it all down in the comments below, then you can click right over here to see my interview with Dylan O'Brien and the cast of Maze Runner: The Death Cure, which opens this week. Thanks so much for watching, as you do all the time, and I will see you guys again soon.